Hello, my name's Esme and I'm the curator at the Museum of Richmond. To celebrate 75 years since VE Day, we've gone into our collection and found an interesting recipe from World War II that we're going to try at home. Since rationing went on long after the end of the Second World War, the people celebrating on VE Day in 1945 would certainly have had to use these rationing recipes when making treats for the street parties. So today, I'm going to try making marmalade buns using a recipe from a booklet in our very own collection. We hope you'll have a go as well, so here's what you'll need. Now we're ready to get started with our mixture. First step is to sieve the salt and the self-raising flour into a large mixing bowl. So there goes our flour and our salt. Just sieve that into the bowl. All done. Next, we're going to rub in the margarine. For this, make sure that you've washed your hands. Take your margarine, add it to your flour and salt mixture, and then get your hands in there and start to use your fingertips to rub together the margarine and the flour. So do that until all the clumps of the margarine have been rubbed in. Next, we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of the sugar and gently mix that in with a wooden spoon. And then we're going to gradually add our milk a little bit at a time, mixing it in well each time we add. And we're looking for our mixture to start turning into a dough-like consistency. So just keep the mixture moving, add a little more milk, keep it moving. Make sure you're checking for any bits of flour that are down at the bottom. The rest of the milk there. You can see already it's starting to stick together into a lovely pliable dough. So just keep mixing that. You can see it's all sticking together. This is the kind of dough-like consistency that we're looking for. There we go. So this is just about ready for us to start making our buns. Okay, so what I've done here is I've floured the surface, sprinkled a light layer of flour there, and I've tipped out our lovely dough onto the surface. So now we're going to gently knead it. So what you want to do is to push the dough away, roll it around, kind of make a nice smooth motion. So push with the heel of your hand and then bring it round. I'm not a master baker, so I am sure there are many people out there with a better kneading technique than me. You can use the knuckles as well if you so choose. So just going to lightly knead that a little more. Okay, if you notice that your dough is starting to stick, like you can see here, you can just grab a little bit more flour and sprinkle that just to make sure our surface doesn't get too sticky. All right, time to roll. So with my trusted rolling pin, I'm going to roll out the dough until it is about 1/4 of an inch thick. So if, like me, you're a little bit limited on counter space, you might have to move it around a little bit. You can see just starting to get a nice thin piece of dough. So about 1/4 of an inch is the thickness that we're looking for. So this is just about that. Right, we're just about ready to start cutting out our buns. Before you start cutting, make sure that you've got a chopping board or something similar with a bit of flour sprinkled on it, ready to go. So what you want is about a 3-inch cutter. If, like me, you don't happen to have a 3-inch cutter ready to go, you can always use a small tumbler or glass like this. So what you want to do, just press down into the dough, and as you press down, just wiggle it around a little bit, and then you should get a lovely circle, just like that. So what we're going to do now is take a small dollop, about 1/4 teaspoon of marmalade, and just pop it right in the middle, just like that. Next, you want to dip your finger in a glass of water and lightly pat around the edge of half of your bun. Not too much or you'll make the dough too wet. Next, we're going to lightly fold the edges of our bun up over the marmalade, just like that, making sure none of that marmalade escapes. So end up with a little bun like that. And then what you want to do, grab your board and put your bun so that the part where you folded is face down, like that. So you've got a lovely smooth top. And then gently press with your fingertips just to flatten it so it looks a little bit more like a biscuit than like a dumpling. There we go. So just repeat that process until you've used up all of your dough. So once you've finished putting together your buns, you're going to want to get a baking tray and lightly grease it. If you've got a cooking spray, you can use that, or you can do what I've done here and just lightly rub it with a bit of butter. Then you want to pop your buns down, and we're going to go on to the last stage before we cook them. So firstly, we're going to want to lightly brush them with a little bit of milk. I've just got a small amount in this cup here. Now if you have a pastry brush, this would be an ideal time to use that, but unfortunately I don't, so I am going to be using my finger. Again, remember to wash your hands. So just lightly dab the milk onto each one, just like that. And then after you've applied the milk, take the 2nd tablespoon of sugar and sprinkle onto the milk, just like that. So once you've done that for each of the buns, they're ready to go in the oven. And here are our finished buns. Now it's time for the most important step. It's time to try them. And there you have it, some delicious marmalade buns. We hope you have fun trying this at home, and we'd love to see what you make, so tag us on social media if you have a go yourself.